Nobody thought this would go this far, but Cenat versus NBA YoungBoy is officially spiraling out of control. What started as slick comments and quiet tension has now exploded into something way bigger, and fans are picking sides fast. Cenat, one of the biggest streamers on the planet, built his name on jokes, energy, and viral moments. NBA YoungBoy? A street-certified rap powerhouse who doesn't play about respect. So when these two worlds collided, it was never going to end peacefully. Sources say it wasn't just one moment, it was a chain reaction. A clip here. A reaction there. Fans pushing narratives. Internet pressure cooking everything behind the scenes. And suddenly, something that could have been ignored turned personal. What makes this situation dangerous isn't just the words, it's the silence. NBA YoungBoy doesn't respond like everyone else. When he goes quiet, history tells us something follows. And Kai? He's not backing down either, standing firm while the internet watches every move. Now fans are asking the real question, is this just an online drama, or are lines being crossed that can't be uncrossed? Because once fan bases get involved, things escalate fast. Messages get twisted. Clips get weaponized. And before you know it, both sides are locked in with no easy exit. Stay locked in, because what you're about to hear next changes everything about this situation and explains why this beef is far from over. What most people don't realize is that this situation didn't explode overnight. The Cenat versus NBA YoungBoy tension has been quietly building for weeks, hidden behind clips, comments, and subtle moments most fans missed. It all started when Kai, during one of his high-energy streams, reacted to NBA YoungBoy-related content. At first, it felt harmless, just another viral moment. But hip-hop fans know better. Tone matters. Timing matters. And respect matters most of all. What some viewers saw as entertainment, others interpreted as sneak dissing. Almost instantly, clips began circulating across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Short edits. Out-of-context reactions. Bold captions. And just like that, narratives were born. One side claimed Kai was clout chasing. The other insisted he was just being himself. But once the internet smells controversy, there's no turning back. NBA YoungBoy's fanbase is known for one thing: loyalty to the extreme. They don't take jokes lightly, especially when they feel their artist is being played with. And even though YoungBoy himself stayed silent, his supporters didn't. Comment sections turned hostile. Streams got flooded. The message was clear: this wasn't funny anymore. Kai, on the other hand, didn't retreat. That's what surprised people most. Instead of apologizing or brushing it off quietly, he kept streaming, kept moving the same way. To his fans, that was confidence. To critics, it looked like provocation. And this is where things got complicated. Because Cenat isn't just a streamer, he's a cultural voice. Everything he does gets magnified. Every laugh, pause, or facial expression becomes a headline. So when he addressed the situation indirectly, without naming names, fans read between every line. Meanwhile, NBA YoungBoy's history loomed large over the entire situation. This is an artist known for responding on his own time in his own way. Sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's a post. Sometimes it's silence that speaks louder than words. And that silence had people nervous. Industry insiders began whispering that this wasn't just fan drama anymore. The overlap between streaming culture and hip-hop had created a dangerous gray area. Kai represents the internet. YoungBoy represents the streets. When those worlds collide, misunderstandings escalate fast. Then came the turning point, the moment fans say officially changed everything. A new clip surfaced. Short, blurry, and only a few seconds long. But it spread like wildfire. People claimed it showed a shift in Kai's energy. Others said it proved NBA YoungBoy was aware of the situation. Whether true or not didn't even matter anymore, perception had already won. At that point, creators started choosing sides. Reaction channels jumped in. Twitter spaces popped up overnight. Everyone suddenly had inside info. And as usual, half of it contradicted the other half. But one thing was undeniable: this was no longer cooling down. Kai's streams started feeling different. The jokes hit harder. The pauses felt longer. Fans watched closely, waiting for a slip-up. And every time NBA YoungBoy's name came up, even accidentally, the chat would explode. Behind the scenes, pressure mounted. People close to Kai reportedly advised him to tread carefully. Not because he was wrong, but because NBA YoungBoy isn't someone you want unnecessary tension with. At the same time, backing down publicly could look like weakness in the ruthless world of online culture. That's the trap Kai found himself in. NBA YoungBoy, meanwhile, continued moving in silence. No interviews. No explanations. Just music and distance. For longtime fans, that pattern was familiar and unsettling. Historically, when YoungBoy ignores something, it's either completely irrelevant or being stored for later. And that's what had people on edge. Because if this really was just streamer drama, it would have faded already. The fact that it didn't mean something deeper was happening. Respect was being questioned. Boundaries were being tested. And both sides were being pushed by millions of voices screaming from behind screens. As days passed, the situation evolved from internet beef into a case study on modern fame. One man controls live audiences of hundreds of thousands. The other commands a cult-like fan base rooted in raw emotion. Neither side wants to lose face. And here's the real issue. There's no clear winner in situations like this. The internet demands escalation. Silence gets interpreted as fear. Speaking up gets twisted into arrogance. Every move becomes risky. By the end of the week, fans weren't asking if something would happen, they were asking when. Would Kai finally address it head-on? Would NBA YoungBoy respond in the way only he knows how? Or would this continue simmering until someone crossed a line they couldn't uncross? Because once hip-hop pride and internet ego collide, the fallout can be unpredictable and sometimes irreversible. And trust this. What happens next is the reason fans say this situation is only getting started. What happened next is where this story stopped being just speculation and started feeling dangerously real. As the days passed, fans noticed a shift, not just online, but in behavior. Cenat's streams, usually chaotic and carefree, began carrying an undercurrent of awareness. He wasn't saying names, but his words were sharper. His jokes landed heavier. It felt like he knew people were watching and judging every second. That awareness spread to his inner circle. Friends on stream avoided certain topics. Music selections changed. Even the chat mods tightened control. To outsiders, it looked subtle. To longtime viewers, it was obvious. Something was being avoided on purpose. At the same time, NBA YoungBoy's camp remained completely silent. No tweets. No stories. No cryptic captions. And in hip-hop culture, that kind of silence is rarely accidental. It's strategic. Fans started digging. Old interviews resurfaced. Lyrics got dissected line by line. Every new NBA YoungBoy release, even unrelated tracks, was scanned for hidden meaning. Was that line about internet games a shot? Was that bar about laughing in your face directed at someone specific? Nothing was confirmed, but confirmation almost didn't matter anymore. The narrative had already taken a life of its own. Then came the moment that truly divided the internet. During a later stream, Kai addressed the situation, not directly, but clearly enough for everyone to understand. He spoke about respect, about people taking jokes too far, and about how the internet loves to twist things. He didn't apologize. He didn't backtrack. He simply made it clear that he wasn't afraid to stand on what he does. That stance earned him praise and criticism in equal measure. Supporters called it confidence. They said Kai shouldn't have to walk on eggshells just because of who someone is. Critics, however, argued that hip-hop culture isn't the same as streamer culture, and ignoring that difference was reckless. And right in the middle of that debate, NBA YoungBoy's fan base exploded. Comments flooded social media accusing Kai of disrespect. Some warned him to be careful. Others claimed he was intentionally provoking a response for attention. Screenshots spread faster than facts. Fake quotes mixed with real ones. The line between truth and rumor completely blurred. What made everything worse was how fast outside voices jumped in. Other streamers began reacting. Some defended Kai. Some distanced themselves. A few even hinted that they'd been warned privately to stay out of it. Whether true or not, That alone fueled the idea that this situation had. Kai's fans grew defensive. They emphasized that Kai never mentioned YoungBoy by name, that everything was being blown out of proportion, that internet personalities shouldn't be held to street rules. YoungBoy's supporters pushed back just as hard. They argued that respect doesn't need a name to be broken, that intention doesn't erase impact, and that laughing at the wrong thing can still cross a line. Both sides felt justified. And when both sides feel right, conflict becomes inevitable. Behind closed doors, industry insiders reportedly began urging calm. Not because anyone was wrong, but because the outcome of escalation wouldn't benefit anyone. Streamer drama thrives on attention. Real-world tension doesn't. Still, the internet wasn't interested in peace. Every new Kai stream became an event. Viewers tuned in not for content, but for clues. Every NBA YoungBoy move, or lack of one, got interpreted as a message. Silence became louder than speech. And then, a subtle but critical detail emerged. A person connected to NBA YoungBoy liked a post. Just a like. No caption. No comment. But in the hyper-analyzed world of online drama, that was enough. Fans treated it as confirmation. Blogs ran with it. Suddenly, the story shifted from possible tension to acknowledged tension. Whether that interpretation was fair or not didn't matter. The internet had decided. From that point on, cooling down was no longer an option. Kai now faced a crossroads. Address it directly and risk inflaming the situation. Ignore it and let others control the narrative. Either way, the pressure was mounting. NBA YoungBoy, on the other hand, held all the power. By saying nothing, he forced everyone else to react. That imbalance is what made fans uneasy. Because when one side is loud and the other is quiet, the quiet side usually moves last and hardest. As days turned into weeks, one thing became clear. This wasn't about one clip anymore. It was about boundaries between cultures, about where entertainment ends and disrespect begins, and about how quickly the internet can turn a misunderstanding into a full-blown standoff. And just when people thought things couldn't get more intense, a new development surfaced, something fans didn't see coming at all. Something that changed how both sides viewed the situation. And that moment is exactly where this story takes its most unpredictable turn yet. That unexpected development hit the internet like a shockwave. A previously unseen clip surfaced, not dramatic, not aggressive, but revealing. It showed a behind-the-scenes moment that suggested this situation wasn't being driven solely by ego or clout, but by miscommunication amplified by the internet. The clip didn't clear anyone completely, but it added context, and context is dangerous when narratives are already set. Some fans took it as proof that Kai never intended disrespect. Others argued it confirmed NBA YoungBoy's camp was aware long before anyone admitted. Instead of settling things, the clip split opinions even harder. But something else changed after that moment. The energy online shifted from excitement to concern. People started realizing this wasn't entertaining anymore, it was tense. The jokes slowed down. The memes felt forced. Even the loudest instigators began saying, this might be going too far. Cenat felt that shift too. In a rare moment of seriousness, he addressed his audience with a different tone. No jokes. No sarcasm. Just clarity. He spoke about how fast things can spiral when millions of people project intentions that were never there. He emphasized that he had respect for hip-hop culture and didn't want unnecessary problems. Still, he stayed firm. He didn't apologize for being himself. He didn't admit wrongdoing. But he acknowledged the weight of the situation. That mattered. Because in internet culture, acknowledgement is often seen as weakness, but in real life, it's maturity. Some fans praised him for it. Others said it was too little, too late. Either way, it marked a turning point. At the same time, NBA YoungBoy's silence continued, and that silence began to mean something different. Instead of fear or buildup, fans started reading it as disinterest. The idea formed that maybe, just maybe, this situation never mattered enough to deserve a response. That realization deflated the tension more than any statement could have. But don't get it twisted, silence doesn't erase damage. The fan bases had already clashed. Words had already been exchanged. Screenshots would live forever. And reputations had already taken hits, not from facts, but from perception. Behind the scenes, it became clear that cooler heads were stepping in. People close to both sides reportedly encouraged distance. No more indirect comments. No more reactions. No more feeding narratives. And slowly, that advice started showing results. Kai stopped engaging entirely. No more hints. No more vague references. Streams returned to normal energy. Content shifted. The chat calmed down. NBA YoungBoy continued doing what he's always done, releasing music, staying in his lane, and letting the noise burn itself out. And just like that, the fire began to fade. Not because it was resolved, but because the internet found something new to argue about. That's the uncomfortable truth. Most online beefs don't end with apologies or explanations. They end with attention moving on. But the impact lingers. Lessons get learned, sometimes quietly. For Cenat, this was a wake-up call. Being the face of internet culture comes with invisible rules. Not everyone interprets humor the same way. Not every audience lives online. And when worlds collide, context matters more than intent. For NBA YoungBoy's fanbase, it reinforced a long-held belief: silence can be power. You don't have to respond to everything, especially when the other side is being fueled by algorithms. And for the culture as a whole, it exposed something deeper. The line between entertainment and real-life consequences is thinner than ever. Streamers move fast. Hip-hop moves emotionally. The internet doesn't care about nuance, it cares about reactions. When those three collide, situations escalate before anyone has time to slow them down. So, did this beef officially end? Not exactly. It didn't explode. It didn't resolve. It simply expired. But expiration doesn't mean forgetfulness. Fans will remember this moment whenever Kai reacts to hip-hop content again. They'll watch more closely. So will artists. So will the culture. And NBA YoungBoy? He never said a word, and somehow said everything. Because the biggest takeaway from this entire situation isn't who is right or wrong. It's how fast perception can become reality when millions of voices are involved. One clip, one reaction, one narrative. That's all it takes. And if there's one thing this story proves, it's this. Cenat versus NBA YoungBoy was never really about beef. It was about boundaries. And the internet is still learning where those boundaries are. If you made it this far, you already know this wasn't just internet drama. This was a real lesson about fame, respect, and how fast things can spiral online. So make sure you hit that like button. It pushes this video to more hip-hop fans who need to hear the full story, not just the clips. Subscribe if you want real breakdowns with context, not clickbait, because situations like this happen every week, and most channels miss the truth. Drop a comment right now. Is Cenat wrong, or did the internet take this too far? I'm reading every comment. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because the next story is already brewing, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until next time, stay locked in, stay informed, and let the internet know you don't just watch the drama, you understand it.